Hey everybody, today we're gonna make a tri-stick. Stick around. Tick, 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 boom. Alright guys, thanks for being here. I appreciate you joining me. Today we're gonna go over how to make one of these guys right here. And this is what is called a tri-stick. It's really not useful for anything more than practicing your knife skills and learning some notches, and you learn the pros and cons of your knife, what your knife's capabilities are, and you also get to learn what your capabilities are with that knife. This particular tri-stick has 11 different notches on it. There are a lot of different notches other than these 11, but I'm going to start going through them, and I'm not only going to show you how to make them, I'm going to show you what they're useful for in a common practical way in bushcraft. Alright guys, so I harvested a sapling. Now what I'm going to do is I want to go over a few things about the knife that I'm going to use, and I also want to go over some knife safety before we get started. Alright guys, so what I have here are a selection of 4 knives, and 2 of these are PKS's, one's a Brian Teague, and this one over here is a Dan Ferguson. So if you take a look at the PKS's, of course they're well loved, well used. I use them for many years. They all have the 90-degree spine, and they all have the same kind of grind, which is a Scandi grind. And Scandi grinds are great grinds, don't get me wrong. Here's the thing, I always limited myself. Why did I use a Scandi grind? Because that's what I was always told to use. And I never thought about any other grind whatsoever. And then I bought a Brian Teague knife, and it has kind of a complex Scandi, or a saber, which basically is a Scandi, and then it has a double grind to it. And now, because I'm carrying these on my website, and I believe in Dan Ferguson and Jeff White, these are the knives that I'm using. This is the Bush one, and the thing that sets this one apart is, number one, it's a little bit thinner, and number two is that instead of being a Scandi grind, it is a convex grind, and I thought I'd have issues with it, and I really don't. I love this knife. So now we have chosen our knife. Now we're going to talk a little bit about knife safety. Knife safety, we don't want anybody within arm's reach. So you put your arms out, wave them around. Nobody should be in that. That is what is commonly called the blood circle. Nobody should be anywhere where you can reach them with this knife when you're using it. Next safety tip, right here. This is called the blood triangle. Don't carve in here. Don't take your knife and carve inside of here. Carve out here. There's nothing to hit. Major arteries run through here. You nick one of them, you could be in some big trouble. Last thing to think about, guys, with knife safety, this right here, that's pretty sharp. This stuff here, this is flesh. It's pretty soft. This right here will cut through this. You will bleed. It will hurt. And it's just not as much fun as not getting cut. So try to keep this mutually exclusive from your flesh. And that's a pro tip. Ideally, you probably want between 12 and 18 inches for a good tri-stick. So it's better to have too much room than not enough room, and it just depends on how many notches you want to try out, how close together you can put them, and some of that also depends on the wood. I'm going to go with a nice arm's length here. So I'm going to cut it about here. That's going to be about 18 inches or so. It's also very important, guys, to get green wood when you're trying this. Green wood carves way better than dead wood. The first notch I'm going to show you how to make is to chamfer the ends. Okay, so what would we use a chamfer for, guys? We'd use a chamfer on something like this, which is a tent stake, and basically what it does is if you put it on the end that you're going to be hammering it in, it keeps it from splitting out as easy. It also, when you put it on something just like this common simple toggle here, it just makes it look a little more professional. It takes away those harsh, hard edges that after you get done cutting or chopping it, you've just got that hard edge. This kind of takes it away, just makes it look a little more finished. To chamfer the ends, what we're going to do is we're going to come back about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch, and we're just going to push. Takes off a little bit of the bark there at first. We're just going to do that all the way around. Get into the wood a little bit. Hit a little bit of a branch here. We'll just muscle through that. And that's what we get left with, guys. And we can get as complicated with this as we want. We can keep it nice and simple. Another possibility with the chamfered end is we can take it to the extreme, and this one's got like a square top on it. If we continue to whittle it down, again, guys, nice controlled cuts. Don't get crazy and wild. This is about finesse more than power. What we're going to do is round off the top. Of our chamfer. And you will see we now have a dome and that dome is perfect for if you are using a bow drill fire. So this would be your spindle for a bow drill fire. That would be the end going to your hearthboard. The next notch is commonly called the L7 notch. Alright, the next notch and how to make it and what it's useful for is the 7 notch or the L7 notch. And it's the same notch, it's just one is 180 degrees to the other. So again, tent stake is a perfect example of this. This is the end you'd be hitting on. You would put a 7 notch right there, and that way when you were to put it into the ground, you have a place for your cordage to catch onto, and it will not slip off of there because now you have a mechanical way of holding your cordage. It's also very useful when doing trap triggers. So here is one side of your L7. Right here would be your trigger. They fit together like that. And then right here would have some cordage, and whenever the bait was taken, it would pull that away, and that is another common use for the L7. Alright, to make your L7 notch, come back in about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches at least. We're going to use the meatier part of the knife down here. We're just going to set it there, and then use a baton or a maul. We're going to tap, just like that. And we want to go about halfway into the wood. That's creating what we like to call a stop cut. And what that does is now, when we're getting ready to actually carve in, it's done. It comes right off cleanly. So we're just going to keep on taking little pieces of wood. Again, very controlled push strokes here. Not going wild, not going crazy. And this is all finesse, guys. This is all leverage. I've got it leveraged between my thumb, and I can just leverage right on through. If I need to wiggle it a little bit, I can wiggle a little bit, but I'm not getting wild and crazy. And these are really nice, thin little strips that I'm just peeling off of here. So now you have a nice 7-notch.